Let's get started with our first news. Merab believes that Henry Cejudo will beat Peyton Talbot in their upcoming fight at UFC 323. The matchup has already sparked major debate across the MMA community, but Merab seems confident that Henry's experience and fight IQ will make the difference. Henry, who's been struggling with a 3-fight losing streak, is now looking to bounce back in what could be a defining moment of his career. During a recent discussion, Merab reacted to the news of Henry facing Peyton Talbot. When someone mentioned Henry being on the card, Merab seemed surprised at first, asking who Talbot was. After a short exchange, he remembered the young fighter with curly hair and a tattoo, the same guy who lost earlier in the year to Umar, but came back strong with a win shortly after. Once Merab recognized him, he didn't hesitate to share his thoughts. "Yeah, I know that guy," he said. "He's young, but Henry will beat him." His tone showed confidence, though others around him weren't completely sure. One person mentioned that it's a tough matchup because Henry hasn't been wrestling much lately or using his grappling the way he used to. They pointed out that even if Henry does lean on his wrestling, he could tire out quickly since it doesn't seem like he's been training as hard as before. Merab admitted he wasn't certain about Henry's current training habits, but still stood firm in his support. "I don't know. We'll see," he added, "but I'm hoping Henry wins this fight." That line captured both honesty and respect. Merab clearly wants to see the former double champ return to his winning ways. As the conversation wrapped up, someone joked that maybe Merab himself could face Henry one day. Merab smiled at the idea, responding with a simple, "Who? Henry?" before laughing it off. With UFC 323 approaching fast, the spotlight is now on Henry to prove he still has what it takes to compete at the highest level, and to show that Merab's prediction might just be right. Move on to another news. Corey Sandhagen wants to fight Sean O'Malley next. After both men suffered losses to Merab, Sandhagen believes that now is the perfect time to finally make this long-awaited matchup happen. In a recent interview, Sandhagen made it clear that he's ready to step back into the octagon, and there's only one name on his mind: Sean O'Malley. When asked if he's already thinking about what's next, Sandhagen didn't hesitate. "Yeah, for sure," he said. "I think me and O'Malley has to happen. If there's ever a time to do it, it's now." He went on to explain that fans have been calling for this fight for a long time, and right now, it feels like the perfect moment to make it a reality. Sandhagen mentioned that he doesn't know if O'Malley is currently booked for another fight, but if not, he believes the matchup would be perfect for the upcoming White House card, a massive event that's already generating huge hype. "If you threw us on that card," he said, "it would be such a gigantic fight. The fans would love it." While Sandhagen admits the event is still a while away, he said the opportunity would be worth the wait. "It's kind of a ways away, so I'm not super stoked on waiting that long," he explained. "But it's a huge card against a great fighter, and a big chance for both of us to give fans what they really want to see." However, there's also concern about timing. O'Malley last fought 4 months ago, and some wonder if he'd be willing to wait until that White House card. When asked about that, Sandhagen remained open-minded. "For sure, March is good," he replied. "I don't want to wait too long either. It'd be great to do it earlier, but that card is going to be historic. A lot of people will watch it, and it'll be something special." Still, Sandhagen made it clear that if the White House card doesn't work out, he's completely fine fighting O'Malley sooner, even as a main event somewhere else. "That to me is the biggest fight you can make in the division outside of a title fight," he said. "It makes more sense now than it ever has." For Sandhagen, this isn't just another matchup. It's about timing, momentum, and proving who truly deserves to be next in line at bantamweight. Move on to another news. Ian Gary has made it crystal clear he has absolutely no interest in ever fighting Leon Edwards. The Irish welterweight didn't hold back when discussing his former teammate, stating that he wants nothing to do with Leon, either personally or professionally. For those unaware, Ian and Leon once trained together before Ian decided to leave the gym. Later, Leon claimed that Ian was kicked out for breaking team rules, a statement Ian has completely denied. During his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Ian spoke passionately about the situation. "I have no interest ever for him to earn any money off me doing all the hard work," Ian said. "I'm the more interesting fighter, and I'm not letting him get any kind of financial benefit from my success." He went on to say that if Leon were ever willing to fight him under one specific condition, winner takes all, then he'd do it in a heartbeat. "If he was willing to fight me for all or nothing, I'd fight him instantly," Ian said. "Because I'd make sure he leaves that octagon absolutely punched around, unconscious, and with zero benefit." Ian made it clear that there's deep resentment toward Leon and his former team. "I have no want to see him nor his team ever again," Ian continued. "They lied and I don't like liars." The tension between the two fighters goes beyond competition. It's personal, rooted in what Ian describes as betrayal and dishonesty. Looking ahead to UFC 322, Ian revealed he'll be supporting Carlos Prates, who's set to face Leon Edwards. He made no attempt to hide his feelings. "I'm going to have a Brazilian flag on my shoulders come November 15th, Ian said proudly. "I'll be cheering Carlos Prates on, watching him spark Leon Edwards unconscious." Ian's words have added even more fire to an already heated situation. While Leon continues to prepare for his upcoming bout, Ian's focus remains elsewhere, climbing the rankings, staying undefeated, and making a name for himself without giving Leon or his camp a single ounce of credit or benefit. For Ian Gary, the message is simple. Some bridges are meant to be burned forever. Move on to another news. Khamzat recently opened up about his fight with Duplessis, admitting that the bout wasn't as hard as he initially expected. In his post-fight comments, Khamzat revealed that he thought Duplessis would be a much tougher opponent. But once they stepped inside the octagon, he quickly realized that things weren't quite what he imagined. "To be honest, I thought the guy would be a little stronger," Khamzat said, "but he's not a weak fighter. I just didn't give him much of a chance. Wrestling and grappling, the technique I have, it's on another level." Those words perfectly summed up Khamzat's confidence in his own skill set. For him, it wasn't just about physical strength. It was about technique, control, and dominance. Throughout the fight, Khamzat displayed the same relentless pressure that has become his trademark. His grappling transitions were sharp, his ground control was suffocating, and his pace made it nearly impossible for Duplessis to find any rhythm. Even though Duplessis is known for his power and toughness, Khamzat made him look ordinary by comparison. Afterward, Khamzat reflected on the matchup, admitting that while it was competitive, it didn't allow him to showcase everything he wanted. "It did not work out for me to show what we wanted," he said. "He's not an ordinary fighter, but I expected more from him." That statement highlighted both respect and confidence. Respect for Duplessis as a top contender, but confidence in Khamzat's own superiority. Fans have already begun speculating about what's next for Khamzat. Some are calling for him to move up and face Alex Pereira at light heavyweight, a potential clash that would be massive for the sport. While Khamzat didn't officially call out Pereira, his tone made it clear that he's hungry for the biggest challenges available. After another dominant win, Khamzat continues to prove why he's one of the most feared fighters in the world. His mix of raw aggression and elite grappling remains unmatched, and if he does step up to fight someone like Pereira, it could be one of the most explosive showdowns in UFC history. Move on to another news. Bisping got brutally honest about Charles Oliveira's incredible comeback win over Mateusz Gamrot at UFC Rio. Heading into the event, fans and analysts across the MMA world questioned whether it was too soon for Oliveira to step back into the cage after his brutal knockout loss to Ilya just 3 months earlier. Many believed his confidence would be shaken, that maybe he should have taken more time to recover. But the former lightweight champion silenced every single doubter with a dominant and fearless performance that reminded the world exactly who he is. Speaking on his latest episode of the Believe You Me podcast, Bisping couldn't stop praising Oliveira for staying true to his signature style, walking his opponents down, throwing relentless offense, and keeping constant pressure from the opening bell. "We all know he got knocked out by Ilya, right?" Bisping said. "But that happened because of what Charles Oliveira does. Being aggressive, being reckless, being exciting. So what does he do now? Does he decide to be cautious? To play it safe? To avoid risks? No. He does exactly what made him great." Bisping highlighted that Oliveira refused to let fear or doubt change who he is as a fighter. Instead of backing off, he pushed forward with even more determination, attacking Gamrot with devastating knees, sharp punches, slicing elbows, and powerful kicks. He fought like a man who had something to prove, and he did it in style. "He walked him down with reckless abandon," Bisping said proudly. "That's why you have to love this guy. After going through that kind of knockout, most fighters would play it safe, maybe look to wrestle, maybe fight off the back foot. Not Charles. He goes out there and proves everyone wrong." Bisping also defended Oliveira's choice to fight again so soon after the loss, shutting down critics who called the turnaround reckless. "It's been 3-4 months, and the guy's a fighter," Bisping said firmly. He wanted to erase that loss. He wanted to show the world he's not finished. 3 months is plenty of time. People forget. Fighters are cut from a different cloth. We're not built like everyone else. He's fine. In the end, Bisping summed up Oliveira's story perfectly. A true warrior who faced adversity, doubt, and fear, but refused to let any of it stop him. "He just proved it," Bisping said. "He went in there and destroyed Gamrot in incredible fashion. What a performance. What a comeback." Charles Oliveira reminded everyone once again why he's one of the most exciting fighters in the game. Fearless, relentless, and absolutely unbreakable. Move on to another news. UFC veteran Matt Brown has raised serious concerns about the UFC's new anti-doping program, suggesting that the system might not be as transparent as the organization claims. Brown isn't buying how the promotion handled Conor's 18-month suspension, and he's openly questioning whether fighters can truly trust a program that's entirely controlled by the UFC itself. After the UFC ended its long partnership with USADA, it introduced a brand new anti-doping program run by the Combat Sports Anti-Doping Agency, or CSAD, an organization fully funded by the UFC. While the promotion insists that CSAD operates independently under director George Piro, many fighters, including Brown, remain deeply skeptical. Speaking on The Fighter versus the Writer, Brown expressed his doubts about the legitimacy of the new system and how it handled Conor's situation. "The UFC controls the doping," Brown said bluntly. "Who's to say they're not letting certain people dope and not saying anything? They could absolutely be doing it and just not telling anyone. Do I think they're doing that? It doesn't even matter. The fact that they have the power to do it is what matters." Brown emphasized that the real issue isn't whether the UFC is actually allowing doping, but the potential for bias now that the organization holds complete control. "I don't know what it's going to take for fighters to step up," he continued. "Maybe it's not even possible for fighters to ever stand up and say, 'Yo, this is some bullshit.'" He went on to question what would happen if a major fighter failed a test right before a massive event. "You're telling me if the UFC controls doping and they're doing a white house card next year and Conor fails a test the week before, they're really going to pull him out?" "No chance," Brown said. "What if John Jones is the main event and Alex Pereira and those guys both fail the week before? Are they going to cancel the main event for the White House card?" Of course not. According to Brown, that's exactly why the UFC wanted USADA gone, to regain control and avoid accountability. His message was clear. When the promotion has the final say, the line between regulation and manipulation becomes dangerously thin. Move on to another news. Frankie Edgar goes off on BKFC after his fight with Jimmy Rivera was canceled at the very last moment. The UFC legend was clearly frustrated after spending weeks preparing, only to have his bout scrapped hours before fight night. According to Edgar, his manager received an email from BKFC stating that the promotion's owner and their doctor advised against allowing him to compete, despite the fact that he had already signed a contract months earlier. Edgar explained that he went through extensive medicals and passed every single one of them without issue. "I did a ton of medicals," he said. "I was running around to every doctor and every single one said my stuff was great. But then, out of nowhere, BKFC claimed they hadn't received his medicals." Edgar called that a straight-up lie. "They got all my medicals," he continued. "They just didn't send them to the commission. I gathered everything myself and handed it over." Later, someone from BKFC called and said the doctor from the commission reviewed my medicals and said, "I look fantastic." That's when Edgar realized something shady was going on. "It's just shady, bro," he said. "Honestly, I want to be mad and pissed off, but I can't let it consume me that much. You guys dogged me on my own fight date. That's crazy." He added that he genuinely believed BKFC had potential as a promotion. "I thought BKFC had something. It looked entertaining, but not if they treat fighters like this," he said. "I'll tell you what, fighters out there, beware." Edgar went on to reveal that the organization is only giving him a small payout, just enough so he doesn't sue them for his full purse. "That's it. That's where we're at," he said. While Conor publicly said after the incident that he hopes Edgar gets a chance to fight on a future BKFC card, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Edgar sounded completely done with the promotion, making it clear that his trust in them is gone for good. And as for what's next, in other MMA headlines, Khamzat calls out Alex Pita, setting up what could be one of the most explosive matchups in recent memory.